Hello, Sleepy Gamer here, and if you're new to my channel, I invite you to listen to me or fall asleep with me as I talk you through my trans Animal Crossing experience. I go by they, them, and I do have a lot of my transformation experience in thanks to Animal Crossing. Let's go back to the beginning of Animal Crossing and talk about why it made such a special impact on a lot of trans people's lives. The game first came out in 2020, which to a lot of people rings true as being the start of COVID. Having no socialization other than what you could do digitally made Animal Crossing feel like a pretty important part of our daily lives. For me, that became very true. I wasn't able to see my friends in real life anymore, so I resorted to trying to hang out with them on their Animal Crossing islands. Now, for anyone who's not too initiated with Animal Crossing yet, the whole goal is to pay off your house, decorate your island, decorate your house, make friends with the little digital creatures, and then instantly sob because you realize that there will never be anything that will make you fully happy in this game. But no, for real, Animal Crossing does serve a purpose. It's there to make you feel like, as the creators first intended, no matter where you go, you have friends, you have family, and they want to genuinely be around you. That last part is actually pretty key because being accepted as a trans person in the real world is difficult, to say the very least. The easiest way I've been able to equate why we lack acceptance is because we are not wanted in either bathroom. Whether it's male or female bathrooms, we're told we don't belong in either because we don't present as cisgendered. And just as a basic, if anybody doesn't know what cisgendered means, A, I don't know how you found your way onto my video, and B, it means that you are the gender you were assigned at birth, and that is typically, at least in most modern cultures, male or female. So back to Animal Crossing. This little game is very much concentrated on everyone telling you you are happy and good and nice to be around. The game does lack pronouns other than they and them. Only using they and them does open up the dialogue to work for practically everyone. As a non binary person such as myself, that's really welcoming and that's refreshing. It's not exactly the most rare experience to have video games use they and them, and definitely the video game world has evolved a little bit more past the original Pokemon games asking, are you a boy or are you a girl? Now games say, I don't really care, that makes scripting a lot harder, we're just going to use they for everything, or even just your name. Now, to be honest, where it comes to Animal Crossing, I have played most of the games in the series, and usually I stop playing it after I pay off my entire house loan. And that's pretty much it in terms of my interest level. However, this game felt really special to me. I couldn't quite place my finger on what made this one feel so much more specifically tailored to my interests, but I knew that it was starting to draw me in with its, how should I say, queer experience. To this day, if you look around online for Animal Crossing fandom, you'll find that a lot of the people who follow the game are queer. I'd like to say that the reason that the Animal Crossing series attracts such a queer audience is because we want to be seen and heard and loved for who we are. And these cute little creatures do that so well, don't they? Walking around the real world, still to this day, sometimes I do feel like I don't quite fit in, like I don't meet the expectations of what others expect me to look like. That can be hard. I'm either styling myself way too feminine for their tastes, or somehow the way I talk or present isn't quite making sense for someone that was assigned male at birth. In Animal Crossing, quite frankly, none of the animals care. But where this gets a little more complex is not just about the animals. The other players online played a pretty big key in me understanding who I was as a trans person. It's hard to pinpoint exactly when and where I was in my trans experience that Animal Crossing entered in. They intertwined. I wasn't sure whether or not I was comfortable in telling the world that I was a trans person up until, I guess, this video. This was a pretty big coming out moment for me because I have a lot of people in my personal life that may know that there's something, quote, different about me, but they wouldn't know something like, okay, Sleepy Gamer is a non binary person who goes by they and them. And that's the beautiful thing about Animal Crossing. You don't have to come out as anything. Nobody knows who you are because everybody has some random name like Squeaky Lloyd or I Love Peaches. Could be talking about Peaches the Animal Crossing villager, could be talking about the fruit, honestly, could be talking about a lot of other things. Nonetheless, I did find that a lot of my meaningful connections during COVID did happen because I was talking to people online that had no clue who the heck I was. Having that anonymity and having it all be more text based as opposed to via my voice allowed me to create a persona. If I wanted to dress up in the full Hello Kitty guild, that's great. How would anybody know the difference of who's sitting behind that screen? If I wanted to dress up as Aerith from Final Fantasy VII, I feel like that dress was made for this moment. Who was to stop me? One of my favorite experiences with Animal Crossing was when I decided to start going over to Treasure Islands. And here's a quick little introduction to Treasure Islands for anybody who doesn't know what the heck I'm talking about. Treasure Islands are places that are hacked switches where you can go online and get items from any portion of the game, often for free, but sometimes behind a paywall. All you would do was log online, go to somebody's Twitch island, hop on in, grab some items, make your way out. Discord is a way that a lot of people would end up organizing these Treasure Island communities. And talking to people on Discord helps me realize that no one gave a flying crap what your gender identity was. For some of them, they just wanted to see that they could make a quick buck off of your participation in their treasure islands. These treasure islands started to open up this new exploration for me of the hey, who cares what your gender is of it all. I started making new friends, making memes about the game, talking about really strange specific things about it. It's suddenly I realized, online on Discord, especially within the Animal Crossing world, we're all kind of living in this they, them, non-binary space. There was once a tweet that I saw saying, quote, I wish real life was as simple as switching your gender in the mirror, like it is in Animal Crossing. What this tweet was referring to was the fact that to change your facial appearance, your hair, your clothes, anything, all you really need to do in the Animal Crossing games is reach into your wardrobe or look at a mirror and do a quick button press. And then all of a sudden, you looked like whatever you want it to look like. This is pretty significant for Nintendo, a company that's known for hiding away the quote-unquote accidental glitched in homosexual relationships in Tomodachi Life, or also for still limiting the outfits that you can wear in the Pokemon series games. It's almost like Animal Crossing was its own element, like they could all of a sudden let go and let the world have it. Honestly, sometimes I'm still surprised that Nintendo lets you have so much creative freedom in Animal Crossing. Being able to decorate your island with anything you can write down on those little QR codes is a little bit insane. I can only imagine that the moderation of that is quite nearly impossible. But the islands that I visited did a really great job of representing their own identity from the users through a lot of beautiful pictures, through some themes, and through some really unique setups. I remember when the game first came out, and I felt so proud of myself because I used a QR converter to scan in some images from some of my favorite queer media onto the floor of my island. I shared it with a Facebook group, and everybody thought it was the coolest thing ever, when little did they know, all I really did was copy and paste. But still, I think they came out pretty cool, and they made me pretty happy. One of my favorite elements of the little digital friends that you make in the game is that they decide to call you pet names. I don't remember if I was the one to come up with the name or if my favorite villager Beardo was the one to do it, but he calls me Sweetkins all the time, and that one just makes me happy. I remember around Halloween that I was carving pumpkins with some of my friends, and suddenly one of them who knew of my Animal Crossing community and experience, they started using they them pronouns for me. That was the first time that someone had done that of their own volition outside of this digital world of Animal Crossing. It felt like the connections that I'd made in Animal Crossing were starting to bleed over into real life. Eventually, I started to style myself like I was in the real game. Sometimes it was things like fun hair colors or some funky sweaters. I always wanted to push the boundaries of what my fashion choices were to try and see if I could line up a little bit more to the bravery that I was experiencing in my digital world. I think a big queer struggle that a lot of people can relate to is completionism. Because COVID sucked so much, I felt like the only thing I had control over was completing all of those little achievements in my Nook phone. Essentially, I felt like a gay slave to Tom Nook. When I tell you that I time traveled and made notes and charts, was researching on Reddit, searching through every YouTube video to try and get tips and tricks on how to fulfill all of these endless tournaments of sanity, almost lost myself there. The Nook phone achievements tend to get me there. Life was pretty stressful when I was trying to finish my Nook phone. I was also finishing up my college degree, so you can imagine there are a lot of life changes going on all at once. I had a pretty specific moment when I finished my Nook phone of a now what. Because, fun fact, there is absolutely no fist pump, celebration, trophy, nothing. The game practically ignores the fact that you 100%ed it. And that's to say that I didn't even try and get each variation of clothing, every recipe, every DIY. Honestly, after having this letdown of the Nook phone, I didn't have it in me anymore. Essentially, I felt like the fish in the end of Finding Nemo when they finally escape. They look around and they just say, now what? Like, yay, we've escaped existential crisis, but what's next? You can imagine the tie-in of me graduating college and also completing my Nook phone felt a little bit hopeless. On top of all of that, the game died off. Nintendo stopped doing updates past the roost. Sure, that was pretty cool, but we really deserved a little bit more than the Happy Home Islands. Honestly, it's a catch-22 because I did design a lot of islands, only to find that I was burnt out and I didn't want any more Animal Crossing. I think what I was really looking for was a lot of quality of life improvements. And to connect that to my life, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, I was also looking for a lot of real life quality of life improvements. Animal Crossing helped me realize that life is a never ending plot. There is no finish line, there is no end goal. There's never going to be a time when you feel like you can stop, breathe, and say, yeah, I've made it, I've done it all. But the best thing we can do for ourselves is try and sit and realize that what we have is enough. Through the support system, I was able to start finding through the Animal Crossing community and the friends that I'd made through that. I realized that the best thing I was going to do for myself was to appreciate the trans life that I was now leading. I'd adopted a new name. Having a dead name was a very new thing for me. And every once in a while, having people that I was close to start to call me by my new name, it was a little bit, I guess, off. But I chose not to be afraid. I put they, them on my work tag, and as I built up my new community at work and with my new friends, I found that all of a sudden it wasn't that scary to be trans anymore. Maybe it didn't need to be scary. I found a lot of solace in the creativity that comes out through the queens on RuPaul's Drag Race. There are a lot of similarities between what I've done in Animal Crossing and what the queens do with their projects on that show. The queens have been seeking to be accepted for their entire lives, and they've met a lot of no's and you do not fit in. But when you put on this costume, this mask, and all of a sudden you're performing, it becomes you. You become the performance, and you feel free. My advice for anybody looking to get into the Animal Crossing games is, first off, don't. Second off, if you are, know that you'll never be happy. But third off, enjoy how far the series has come, and enjoy the fact that in New Horizons, the game really does not try and pigeonhole you into a specific gender. Once again, I'm really confused at how Nintendo was so lax with that. I feel like they now see it as an oversight. Maybe they're doing this whole kill the game off and don't update it thing on purpose. Honestly, with what a powerhouse this game is, how important it was to so many people, and how much money it made them, it was the second best selling game on the Nintendo Switch 1. It's baffling to me that they wouldn't even try and take advantage of microtransactions. Happy Home Paradise must have sold really well for them, and they could have done more. Why didn't you do more, Nintendo? As the Animal Crossing community sits and waits for a brand new game, all we can hope is that we're still given the same customizations for our characters that we were in this game. I don't see why Nintendo would pull back any of the they them of it all and your ability to dress as whatever you'd like, but you never know, honestly. For now, living in this space in the Animal Crossing world where I had that precious they them gray non binary world, I realized that I felt finally comfortable in a digital space in a way I never had. Back to Pokemon a bit. Does anybody else remember how freeing it was to play Pokemon Crystal and finally being able to choose a girl character? Nintendo thought they were really revolutionary for their time then. There are some pretty serious games that I don't see myself playing, like Cyberpunk, that let you super customize your character. They are non binary to the maximum. I think that there are some games too, like Elder Scrolls, they let you change the pitch of your voice, they let you change your body shape, your body type. And honestly, the most that I get into with those customizations are the Nintendo Miis. When there's too much customization going on within the sim characters that I'm playing as, I get overwhelmed. Which did happen with Animal Crossing, but at least every single person was just a giant round blob. Because after all, isn't that we all are? We come into this world a giant blob, and we leave this world an even gianter blob. One of my favorite additions to the Animal Crossing game when it was still getting updates were the different hairstyles. I, like many other people that were playing the game, found that the given hairstyles they had didn't exactly fit what I had in real life. And I've always had that element where I feel like I was meant to always choose the hairstyle that was closest to what was really what I had in real life. And then, of course, gay chaos ensued when I was able to choose whatever hair color I wanted. I went honestly opposite of anything I've ever had in real life. I know she's canceled, alright, but I choose an Ellen DeGeneres hairstyle with some nice pink tips. Hey, what can I say? Lesbian chic is cute, doesn't matter where it originated from. As we sit and ponder the future of the Animal Crossing series, I really hope that I'm able to find new friends, new connections, and a continued safe queer space. Having the space that I discovered through Animal Crossing was something that I never expected. Honestly, I never expected to feel anything other than, yeah, I'll pay off this house for Tom Nook and that'll be it. When I tell you that Animal Crossing changed my life, I mean it. And hey, that's why you're still listening to this. Either you're asleep, you're playing this in the background, or somehow you're still interested in my purposefully random rambling. Hope if you're taking a nap by now, you're having the sweetest dreams, or maybe the queerest ones. So, what is it exactly that makes the mind of an Animal Crossing trans player tick? Step 1, we want to make sure that no matter what we're dressed like or presenting like in game, that it's probably as close to what we would want to be if only we had that same freedom in real life. Step 2, we want to make sure that we're not going to be facing any judgment for looking what we want to look like. I do remember that there were some friends of mine that wanted to play the game and they were cisgendered males. They decided that they wanted to try and make their character look as male as possible. I found that some of them were doing that by wearing a gas mask, which is kind of cute. Like, yeah, a gas mask equals masculinity. Finally, they figured out the equation. There were some friends that decided that they were going to collect every single flower, which honestly I thought made the game feel a little bit more feminine. Not that flowers always have to be feminine, of course. Traditionally, sometimes in media, they are. I mean, heck, let's be real, often they are. I think Animal Crossing even gives cisgendered people a larger space to feel more open with their gender representation. Because if you're not scared of others judging what you're going to do with your character avatar, hopefully that starts to leach into what you want to do in real life. I think Animal Crossing brings people together across a wide spectrum of backgrounds and gender representation. I always find myself surprised by the people that are into Animal Crossing because it turns out that the entire fan base is not exactly just queer. For all of the cisgendered people that have tuned into this video or that play Animal Crossing, kudos to you. You decided to be open minded and to not care about what others may think of you. That's what I think characters like Beardo try and tell me. One of my favorite quotes from Beardo is when he told me that he likes his clothes to be tight, super tight, like a second skin. Even though he's just a silly old bear, Beardo still wanted to tell me that no matter what clothes I wanted to wear, I should accept myself. Heck, not just accept myself, but love myself. And that's what I hope for you, dear viewer/listener. I hope you're able to accept yourself, love yourself, and appreciate the small things in life. For a little real world diversion, I'm currently recording this clip in between the circling helicopter above my city. This thing is so loud that it's rumbling the walls of my apartment. Pretty obnoxious, but hopefully they're doing something important. Here's hoping you couldn't hear that hurricane that last bit. One of the worst queer mistakes that I made in Animal Crossing was trying to make a custom t-shirt in my Able Sisters. See, unfortunately, there's no way to delete that custom shirt when you make it. And usually that wouldn't be a problem, except for the fact that every single villager decides they're going to wear it once you make one. And I made a really ugly one. I think it had like red polka dots all over it. It did not look very cute on Raymond. So eventually I just settled for a pure blank white canvas. Looks like everyone's just wearing a sleeping t-shirt walking around the town. Anyways, before we get any more involved talking about Beardo skin, I just want to add in that I really appreciate you tuning in for my first video, and I look forward to making many more sleepy video essays for you in the future. Until then, happy dreams, a sleepy gamer out. Just a little post-video calming content. I wanted to make sure that you felt happy and loved today. Whether you are trans, cisgendered, or you don't know, whether you are queer or straight and you also don't know, you belong, you matter. Every day you can wake up knowing that there is somebody out there willing and ready to be your friend. There's never all hope is lost. Turn off that whole doomsday thought in your head, and especially turn off the news. I promise you, it's not doing you any favors these days. Whatever you can do to try and ground, center yourself, and find your perfect nirvana, whether that's playing a lot of Animal Crossing or that's simply staring at the ceiling for endless hours, know that you deserve that time. You've earned it. You worked hard enough, you did enough school, you did enough hours at your job, and you sweated way too much today. Take a shower, Stinky. Also, if you can't take a shower because you think it's a lot of work, all you need to do is get that water on your body. I know that may seem really silly, but that advice has worked for a lot of people in my life who didn't know how to get them in the shower. I know that may seem really weird, but if you've experienced any form of depression, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The effort of knowing that you have to use soap feels like the end of the world. So try that. And I don't know that it's exactly going to be that there's such a crossover of people with, intense mental health issues listening to these videos. And maybe I just want to fill in the dead air of your headspace with some happy, comforting thoughts. Oh, and also make sure to hydrate. I know you may think, oh, I do enough, but make it fun. Some people like playing those weird little games on your phone where it's like, okay, you drink once per hour. Now you can press this button, it'll fill up the digital screen even more. Maybe you can earn some coupons or gift points for an Amazon gift card. Honestly, whatever floats your boat. Whatever you can do to try and get more hydration going on during your day, the better. I'm not sure how all of those like extra electrolytes that you add in end up treating your body. I try and just drink water as much as possible. And I know this may seem really odd, but I actually find myself really interested in drinking just water. Like, it's actually my favorite drink. I don't even like adding that much ice into it. I know actually, like, cold water can bother a lot of people's throats, so if you're drinking cold water and you're finding that that's an issue, I suggest adding just a few ice cubes in there, get it a little bit past room temperature, then all of a sudden you're into a nice, decent temperature water going in there. If I could ask you one kind thing today, it's that you are kind to yourself. I promise you the world is much harder on you than you ever need to be on yourself. Treat yourself like you are your own best friend. Think, hey, I wouldn't say that's my best friend. And then think that thought toward yourself internally. Yeah, you probably wouldn't say, wow, my best friend is so fat, so ugly, so horrible, so miserable. There's no reason to say, my best friend is so annoying. If you did feel like any of those things were somewhat of a legitimate concern, which you probably wouldn't if they were your best friend, you'd find a way to approach it in a kinder way, as opposed to saying something like, wow, you are so fat and so ugly to yourself. You might find a way to twist that language around and try and say, I am glad you made it another day. You lived past a global pandemic and a lot of wars, and look at you, still up and breathing and happy. You slept and you woke up and you went into the world, and maybe you gave yourself a little breakfast today. I know that's the hardest one for a lot of people, because for me personally, I am a beast in the morning. Nobody wants to talk to me, and I do not blame them. I think the worst part about waking up in the morning is waking up in the morning. I feel like such a victim. I know that that's completely silly. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but I feel like there is nobody that's facing a worser fate than me when I am waking up early in the morning. So I try and adjust my life personally so that I can be awake during the hours that I feel most productive in and that I don't feel like I want to, how do we say this on YouTube? Unalive. Yeah, so find that happy medium and don't judge yourself. I think growing up in society, we were always told you need to make sure that you're waking up at a certain hour because if you don't, you're not going to be productive and nobody will like you. You won't have any friends. You won't be successful at your job. And why are you even trying anymore? No, turn off that existential crisis. That's just something that was built into your headspace when you were a kid. It's okay to know, okay, maybe I want to work overnights. Maybe I just want to talk to less people and that's why I want to work overnights. Whatever your reason is for wanting to be up later, I promise you that it's justified. I promise you that there are so many other people in this world that are not just, quote, night owls, but there are people who, like, chemically can only function at nighttime. Trust yourself that you are okay if that is what your headspace is. Another reason I bring that up is because I personally like to listen to YouTube videos to help me fall asleep. And I know that a lot of people that are listening to this may be getting this as a 3 a.m. YouTube suggestion, which let's be real. The YouTube suggestions at 3 a.m. are always the most clutch. It's something also that you're like, oh, I would really like to watch this during the daytime. I'm going to click it, let it play in the background, and maybe I'll come back and I'll revisit this when I'm more awake. Let's be for real. A lot of people listening to this are already asleep, or they're not going to come back because they're not going to remember, and that's fine. I'm here to be that calm, soothing voice in the background to make sure that you are having the best dreams possible, and so that if you do have to wake up early and you only got a certain amount of sleep and it's a lot less than you're used to, you feel refreshed, you feel ready, you feel like you've earned your rest and that you're going to come in the next day feeling all the more punchy. That's the end. I hope you enjoyed your time and have a great rest.